Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Lore Gremlin Podcast. I'm your host, So Peachy, the Archivist Gremlin.
And I'm your other host, MD, your resident Rex enthusiast.
And today we're going to cover the ever-elusive, the strange organization known as the Circle. The organization that's basically been looming over the multiverse of Siren's multiverse. And one that I think we know a bit about, but honestly, there's still so much to uncover. So let's start off at the beginning, where the Circle, how it came to be. MD?
Origin story time. Okay. So during colonial times, empires were created by the demon prince Babylon. And vampires were attacking colonists or something like that. And in order to defend themselves from these new beings, colonists created werewolves, which we're not entirely sure how they did that. But they did it. And when vampires and werewolves started popping up in Sapphire City specifically, or even just Westhaven, really, a group of scientists began investigating these strange events. And this led to one member of the group, Jedidiah Dr. Felt. He kind of stumbled across this hidden temple in the Sparian Woods. And this discovery and desire to prove the existence of these divine beings, these gods, created this group known as the Circle. And initially it was started out to be kind of not an innocent thing, but it had definitely more pure goals initially, and then as time went on, this knowledge of the divines and the promise of power that came, as they learned more about, the divines and what they were capable of and what they had access to. It corrupted Dr. Felt and 6 other scientists: Dr. Glass, Dr. Stone, Dr. Thatch, Dr. Steele, Dr. Woods, and Dr. Quartz. And those 7 scientists created the Inner Circle. And the Circle, we found out through, I think, Adran. I'm going to say his name wrong again. I think between this episode and the last one, we would have listened to his audios to find out how to say his name.
I'm pretty sure I have listened to it, and I have completely forgotten how to pronounce it too.
I'm pretty sure I did, but it was not for his name.
Yeah, so just because.
So they made an arrangement. He tells us, we find out through his audio, that they made an arrangement with his brother, Ronald, or Ronnie, to create this kind of institution. And that's all, colonial times. And so now we move to, I guess, the modern day and how it operates, and I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okie doke. So now the Circle, their whole, spiel or thing is that they're we want to better the world, learn about all these things, and we get a reverse message in Duke's Part 5, where they introduce themselves to the audience, I guess, which was very unexpected, but cool. So then they basically say we're the Circle, we're trying to study unknown divine anomalies, trying to uncover the mysteries of the world, and then the separation between the Veil that's stopping them from achieving their goals, and they want to be humanity's salvation and whatnot, and it's very putting themselves as we're the good guys, and that's how they kind of present themselves to the world or other people, which is great. And they do all of this under the guise of a private academy, which is Westhaven Academy, where Zeke, Cam, and Judah and all of them are learning. And there is where basically these scientists study these students who have abnormalities and supernatural abilities, to further their unknown goals that we don't really know about. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think what you said before, right? Like the whole reverse audio, or like whatever part of the end of Duke's thing, that was like the first, like we had heard through other series, like, there were always like kind of bits at the end of audios where Dr. Glass would talk to Dr. Felt. And that was like, that's where you heard of the circle, but like that's like eavesdropping.
It was like kind of like getting bits and pieces, but we weren't like
Then
from the
like
audience perspective, we weren't sure like what is this, you know?
Yeah, and then you got like that's like the first kind of public, like, oh yeah, we're making ourselves known.
Yes.
Thing. It was very, very shocking. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, what is going on?
I know, because it was in reverse. Like people had to like I remember downloading the audio. I was like YouTube to MP3, and then I was like reverse audio and GarageBand, and I was trying to figure it out.
People were doing it. They're like, what? And like you told me like, don't spoil the video, just watch till the end. And I got it to the end, and I was like, what? With the voice modulation and all of that. It's like, I was like, what demon possession is going on? And then I think you and like 5 other people were trying to like reverse the audio.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And then like transcribe it. I was like,
yeah, we were all scrambling because we were just like, oh my god, this means something. Because we knew that it was like a reverse audio. Because like you've heard audios played in reverse before, and I was like, oh my god, this is a secret for us gremlins to like uncover.
I will be honest, I had no idea. At first, I was so confused. And then I read, oh yeah, it's reverse. And I was like, oh, that's why it doesn't sound like English. Cool. Yeah, I'm not the brightest, but it's fine.
I'll see that.
Okay, when it came to like that, I was not. So then more about like the group in and of itself and like how it operates. People that join, I guess not people, but scientists mostly, and maybe lower people, I'm not really sure. People that join the group think that they're doing it for the good of humanity, because like in this, the sign off, it's for the circle, for the world. So
yeah, it's for the greater good.
Yeah. So you think, oh yeah, we're doing something good. And they think that with their work of uncovering the supernatural and understanding it, and this whole arrangement with Ronnie, you're helping supernatural beings and humans learn to coexist, and in an environment where they can learn and grow together, right? So, but unbeknownst to them, the inner circle is just using them and their talents and their work to make progress on their quote unquote true goals. Oh my gosh. So each inner circle member also has a specific research project pertaining to the multiverse and the divines in particular. So we have like a list of all of the members, and we have some of the positions and kind of projects of really just like 2, and then we have one more for like the newest member of the inner circle. But I think we're still kind of waiting to hear what the other members are doing, and like how they're, I don't want to say contributing because they're all working on something, but what they're doing to kind of further the whole goals on. So you have Dr. Feld, who's the head, obviously, and he's the supervisor. So head examiner and supervisor of the circle. You have Dr. Glass, who's head of requisitions and experimentation, and he is the head of specifically Project Rift. Oh my gosh, words.
Specifically, it is a hard project name to say. It's like a tongue twister.
Just say that 10 times fast. He's the head specifically of Project Rift Runner, which I think we'll get into a little more later. You have Dr. Steele, Dr. Woods, Dr. Thatch, Dr. Quartz, who we're not sure. He might have something medically related. We're not really sure. Actually, he just pointed out the one on Greg's shirt.
Yes,
like, hey,
it's only based on the fact that Greg called him Dr. Quartz instead of Professor Quartz, which we're like, oh, maybe he's like the medic of the school, which kind of makes sense, but I don't know.
they have doctors in schools. They might.
I mean, with a fancy academy.
Yeah, they might because they can. We can afford a doctor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Then you also have Dr. Stone, and Dr. Stone is, I think, honestly the most interesting. But of the people besides Felton Glass who like you hear the most of, Dr. Stone, I think, is one of the more interesting of the other 5 because they're just being replaced.
We're the one who's being recruited.
Listener gets to be in the inner circle. I love villain listener concepts, and this is this is great. So you have Dr. Stone, who's now went from someone else to now as a listener character. So hopefully with that will come more insight into true purpose, how other people are feeling about how things are running, or how things are being run or being done. And the last kind of member that we know of is the operator, aka Blair Collins, who is also the daughter of Dr. Glass. Plot twist. No, we brought this up last time. That's not a plot twist.
It's a plot twist if you didn't know.
Yeah. If you didn't listen to the last episode, psych. This is what happens. This is what you get for not going through the whole 2 hours.
Yep.
So, anyway, the operator is an agent of the Circle, known for their unorthodox but very effective tactics. Collins is, like we said, the daughter of Dr. Glass, and she's also a student at Westhaven. Blair Collins, who I think is like, I don't really know her relationship to Kion, but like, I think they're rivals.
You know, Kion doesn't really like her, is what we get based on the little
like, I know
Kion
her well.
hint.
Yeah, he's like, I know her, I like her. Like, we have like this connection because I think like I'm sure they like grew up together under this thing. Well, kind of maybe it's mostly probably just rivals that like grew up together. So that's it for its members. Right now, the Circle is being funded by the government, even though I don't really think the government knows what they're doing. Like, they know to a certain extent, like,
because otherwise, why would they fund it? But yeah, they probably don't know. Like, they probably know like the whole like circle agenda, but not the inner circle agenda.
Which makes it like, if they do know, right? Like, to a certain, because like they wouldn't fund it if they didn't believe it, right? Like, why? How have they not gotten more involved?
Yeah.
Like, if magic exists, if these beings exist, I just want to figure out. Like, I feel like that also maybe just like whole like movie thing. Like, the government be like, oh, how can we weaponize this? But like,
I mean, honestly, yeah. This, like, okay, Westhaven's supposed to be like in America, so I find that highly plausible. As an American.
We love our country.
God bless.
But yeah, like, how would they like not be more like? I'm sure like Circle probably kept like the whole gate artifact and basically gods living among men type of thing to themselves, because definitely having a magic book that can like do whatever you want, I feel like you would kill for that. So they probably keep that under the radar. But yeah, wondering why the government is just so not involved. Unless they've like bribed the person that's like kind of head of that. Like, hey, can you just not say anything? Like, yeah, sure. I mean, whatever. I got you.
I mean, if someone threatened you with magic stuff, I'd probably listen too. So I could see that.
Yeah. You don't hurt me, please.
With your magic.
I was watching a really dumb joke about don't turn me into a frog. I hate my brain. Anyway, so yeah, they're being funded by the government. We don't know yet if they have other streams of income. I think we probably talk about more about this later. We touched
Mhm.
on Tritium being a possibility, but like we'll talk about it later. But that was kind of up in the air for reasons.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with now we get back to kind of Dr. Stone and being a listener character. So you find out through this listener, I guess, that if the inner circle specifically needs a new member, the process to invite someone from the lower levels of the organization is a very kind of meticulous, painstaking process because those that are actually part of the the organization, inner organization, is that a thing? I don't know. Members of the inner circle have to kind of deliberate and see who within the organization best aligns with their goals, and like they have the candidate has to reach certain levels of trust, responsibility
Mhm.
within the organization before they're officially invited. And they have to take an aptitude test, I think, and like there's a whole process before Dr. Felt sends them very much like in the spy movies, like a recorded message. Be like, hey,
Yes.
meet us at this place at this time if you're in. If you're out, I don't know what happens if they're just like, I want to
If
join.
you're out, you won't be alive.
I honestly like,
I mean,
how do you like? What if someone says, "I'm not trying to join your weird group. What is this? I
mhm.
came here to just work. They had good
Yeah.
benefits. What is this?"
I just wanted the like health insurance, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and we go to the war games, which
Yeah. And so like the War Games is an annual event that Westhaven Academy holds. More specifically, it's like a complex capture the flag military grade version in the Sparian Woods. So that's interesting, and we'll get to see that in like season 2, apparently, is what we've been told. Um, and it's essentially used to monitor the students and like more specifically the students with like supernatural abilities and figure out like I don't know. I There's so
it's a
much
very
that's
confusing
unclear
thing.
about why they use capture the flag as a game
Yeah,
to like test the students, but I
because like
mean,
we asked like, oh, is it because like in like colonial times they couldn't know who had abilities and who didn't because they weren't just studying because now there's the range of magical beings in Westhaven has dramatically diversified. Is that right? Yeah, that's
mhm.
words. Range is much bigger now. There's not just vampires and werewolves.
Yeah.
Um, so like they're like, oh yeah, this is a test to see who's divine or not. But
Mhm.
then we kind of just got a shrug to that. So we're like,
The cursed shrug.
oh, it's terrible. I'm like, well, if it's not that, then what else? What else is capture the flag for?
Yeah, it's really and like I remember him saying like, "Oh, like there's like cameras set up everywhere when they do the game so that they can like visually monitor what's happening during the game." But like I guess students who know about it have to be careful to not show too much, aka Jace would have to,
Well,
keep
Jace
some
isn't being
stuff
very
under the
careful now,
radar.
anyways.
Yeah, he's just
Which
doing his own thing.
this man is a lot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the whole purpose is very confusing.
hmm
So
So, I mean, that's pretty much the circle summed up in a weird way. They they basically just want to take over the world. It is-
basically, and
I
they
mean,
watch students.
that sounds real sus.
It is. It
Um,
is. It is
it
though.
is.
It is. Call it like it is.
Yep. So yeah, that's basically everything about the circle that we definitively know, all the facts we know. So now it's time into Gremlin and talk about the theories and questions we have about the circle.
The best part.
So to start off, we're basically going to talk about Project Riftrunner, which we had mentioned just a little bit ago. And what we know about Project Riftrunner, we've only gotten bits and pieces of through kind of like end bit audio, where Dr. Glass is always calling Dr. Felt about, updating him about the project. And through that, we know that basically they had 2 gate artifacts, but then they went missing because the purple-haired girl... Can people just call her name? Like,
say her name, y'all. It's not
Melody,
difficult.
okay?
It's the easiest name.
Okay. But yeah, so they had an issue with her. She got chucked into, Altera because of the book, and they were...
I could cut some corners. Nah.
Yeah. And so the Circle wants to use all the gate artifacts, or GAs, as we mentioned, are the gate artifacts made by the architect, which help people go through the multiverse. And so they need all 3 to open the veil permanently? Question mark?
I think, yeah, the whole thing is to have it open as long as they want.
Yeah. So they thought when, one of the books went missing, they thought and one of the books that went missing was the one that went with Duke's Listener. So, Glass is like, "Oh, okay, well, I messed up there, but how about we use a divine descendant as a substitute?" Which obviously didn't really work out that well.
Backfired so hard.
Yeah. And it just seems it seems like they don't really know how to properly use the gate artifacts, or I don't think we even know how they're supposed to use the gate artifacts. There's something about the right way to read it, or something like that. And
yeah, because it's that's the whole riddle thing, right? Let me pull it up real quick. The architect says a riddle at the end of Bren Part 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, "They want to be like me. Since I did it, they think they can do it too. Knowledge is power, but a book could only do so much without the right way to read it." So I think that was the whole... They know how to read it because they've sent people across.
Mm-hmm.
They can't figure out how to bring people back or maintain that connection with the people that have crossed over.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to keep it open for a period, for however long they want.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know the right. They have the book, but they don't have the say spoken word. No, the kind of actual spell to keep all of them open.
Mm-hmm.
Which is confusing.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't have the right is not confusing. It's they know they need it.
Mm-hmm. Right? And how do they expect to get it?
Yeah, because I guess that's the whole when he was questioning Abe,
mm-hmm.
right? Oh, wait, yeah, maybe that is right. He wants to find a divine. He was so desperate to find a divine, right? That he was torturing this guy for no reason. The location of his dad that never showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe divines are able to go back and forth easily. It's nothing to them. So maybe they would know. I don't know if they really need to say something, or if they just can show up. Though we don't really know the whole process.
It's just kind of they do it. They're just I feel like going to Earth. Okay, I'm in Earth.
Time to go to my vacation spot.
Time to go to Fiji.
Dad, what are you doing here? That's a server joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Join the server if you want to know all these inside jokes.
Mm-hmm. The shameless plugging.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone would know, it would be a divine or the architect. And I don't know why they haven't discounted. This is also something we'd probably talk about more later.
Mm-hmm.
If the architect made the books,
yeah,
right? He's the reason why they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they not go after him? Put all their focus. Why would they not focus their energy on finding him?
Yeah.
Instead of the divines.
Especially when
Right.
he might be right under their noses. Cough, cough. Um,
Oh, thinks he's slick.
yeah.
Arthur Tess, who are you fooling? Spoilers, you guys. Arthur Tess is the architect, we're pretty sure.
Yeah, we're like 99.99% sure, unless Siren decides to just flip the switch and be like, "Nah, I was just kidding."
You can't do this to us. Not again. Not after what you did with Zeke.
No.
No,
Um,
I refuse.
but yeah, with Project Rift Runner, things were failing in the beginning, but like the most recent update on Project Rift Runner, which was in Benny's part 6, the Oni, and basically they were able to get the book back, you know, and an agent back, which was interesting. And he like Glass, too many people. Glass said that he did get some like interesting findings from the notes on the ritual, which is like what? And then and
the
they
one he did with Mel and
yeah.
too.
And
Like,
they may be on the way to a breakthrough, which we're not sure what the heck that breakthrough is, but it's got me antsy.
what do you know? Tell us.
Tell us.
That whole progress thing makes me wonder how much do they know? Like we figured out, I think, in the server. I don't know what we figured out, but like we got to the point where we knew, oh, you need 3 gate artifacts, you need a divine descendant, and you need the right. Do they know that? How much do they know like they need?
I mean, I'm sure they know a bit more than we actually think that they know, because
Yeah,
they're
'cause
so
I assumed that they
secret.
did know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assumed that they knew, but like him saying that, I'm like, oh, did you not like? Did you just think, oh, having a divine descendant would just work and like be kind of like? Did you think that it would just kind of like she would just take the place of it, or like did you realize, oh, she kind of just made that work? Like, oh, she's actually something that needs to be part of it.
Yeah.
You don't really know how much they know because again,
I mean, I think they have like probably all the information. It's just putting it into practice to see if it actually works, but I feel like they know the info needed for it to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. So that's our bit about Rift Runner, which is a whole hot mess.
It's Project Drift Runner. I think we haven't talked about it in a while because it hasn't been like everything that happened with like the Westhaven gang and everything with Greg. Right? Like it was this whole it's not that their focus was taken away from Project Drift Runner. Like so I think just us as a group, like we've like there's a lot going on that they have to handle outside of their projects. Like they're running a school with unpredictable people like Jace.
Biting people. Oh god.
I really don't know why he's being. I guess we'll talk about it more later. But like, why are you covering for this man? Yeah. So, Project Rift Runner Inner Circle stuff. We've said this a few times. There are like 7 members of the Inner Circle, and it's no coincidence. That's there's also 7 divines. So, or at least I think it's not a coincidence.
It can't be. Yeah.
I don't think it can. It's too.
And also, if you look at the logo, like the circle logo, like when you see their video, their logo has like 7 little dots inside the eye or something like that, which is like, come on, you know?
It's just too. It's not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a thing and I completely forgot it. It had something to do with the riddle. Pull it up again. They see me do it and they think they could do it too. Something like that. I was like, oh, the circle, they got, oh, okay. Kind of remember. Sorry. Like all over the place. They want to connect the they want to connect the multiverse. What is the reasoning, right? Like they say connect to the multiverse, but they're really focusing on Earth and Altera.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the two places with, where the divines have the most activity.
Yeah.
Again, not really a coincidence. Like, it was. Why do you think that they're learning it? Gosh, sorry, I'm like all over the place. But like, it was like this whole knowledge is power. They come across this temple, they see the divines, they see what they're about, right? They learn about, where they have influence, what they're capable of, the fact that they're able to cross, and they focus on these two worlds, right? Is this like, and the fact that it's like 7 versus 7? I remember thinking that, and I was like, oh, is it actually 7 versus 7? Are they trying to like take over? And the whole like, they have Pierce working on, trying to grow moon bells, basically kind of mass produce moon bells, which we know is a divine weakness.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? And Dr. Glass is like monitoring his progress.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do you need all of these things together? What are y'all up to? That you're and on top of all of that, the fact that Felt was so desperate to find Nyx, like just the locations of where they are.
Yeah.
Right? You can't be doing all of these things, have all of this, projects in motion for like no reason. Because it seems like you're gunning for like the divines, or like, trying to take over what they do.
Yeah, which is interesting. I wonder how they, if the plan is to like basically battle it out with the divines and like take over their spot in the universe, like what's their game plan? I mean, I guess implementing the use of moon bells is part of their game plan, but like how
are you gonna get them to come that close?
Yeah,
you don't even you can't even use kids as leverage for some of them.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work for Leo. He's gonna be like,
for Leo,
well.
For Nyx, he's like, I didn't like him anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how they plan to bring them together.
Like, literally the only effective leverage person that could have been was Vox. But now you've gone and thrown Mel into, like, Altera. Yeah. So you no longer have that as potential leverage, so.
Like, you have no clue how they plan to. Whatever they have planned for, with the divines.
Yeah.
You have no idea how they're going to go about it, or get their attention even.
Yeah.
Some of them, the people that do have descendants there, either don't care, or their descendants are capable enough that you think they'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
We know of, at least, right? Because like, he just seems pretty confident in his abilities.
Yeah,
he should be, because he's probably had the best training.
Yeah,
of all.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Kill was around, right?
It seems like it. Like,
He knows what to do.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And also, Pierce's whole thing with the moon bells is not working. So, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what's game plan too?
You're losing seeds to this man's Twilight Orchid business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and they're pretty rare. So, like, are you gonna stop him at some point? Because it's clearly not working.
Yeah,
but no, I don't know. It's confusing.
It's all, the circle itself is confusing. Let's be real. We feel like we know so much, but really, we know so little.
Like, wait, we don't know. The theory kind of just hits a wall.
Yeah,
because you're like, there's so much, like, there's not enough to like say definitively what they can do. And maybe that's the same on their end too.
It's like we have puzzle pieces, but like none of the colors match, so you can't even get like one corner of the puzzle. You've just got like random pieces, and you're like, okay, like I have these pieces. How do I put them together?
And you lost the cover, so you don't even know what the image is supposed to look like.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what the circle is for gremlins.
Yeah. That also kind of covers what the riddle means.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. Because the riddle, we were like, again, I literally just said it. What is it?
They want to be like me.
Yeah. So they want to be like me even. It's like, that seems pretty on the nose. Like, what do you, like, be like you, and like, how do they want to be divine? Because we only know that's like, that there are like apparently 3 ways to do that, right? Your mind transcends, you marry. Is there a, is that just the 2 that we know of? I know there's a third.
Yeah, there's a third one with the question marks and a big old shrug on it.
Maybe it's that you have to kill one and you take over its job.
Oh God,
Maybe
no.
No, I really hope not. Please, Siren, please,
Siren, please.
please.
We're
No.
begging. Okay.
Yeah, could we just not that? That's not it. That solution is not it.
Yeah.
But I really hope that's not the. Anyway, so yeah, they want to be like me. They've seen me do it, so they think they can do it too. I don't know who. I've never met any of the divines in person. Pretty sure, like Siren has said, for Felt, like the original Dr. Felt, he's never seen a divine.
Yeah.
And there have been sightings of like Nyx and I'm sure Leo and Cal around.
I mean, of course, Nyx. Okay, so one question: does the circle know that Nyx Nixon is Nyx?
I'm sure that it's too on the nose.
I would hope that they would. Like, okay,
I'm like, how if they do? How have they not like sent some spy in to like kidnap him or something?
I don't know. Get someone to be his assistant to get him coffee. Anything, really.
Y'all are missed opportunities.
Like, I'm not trying to help the circle or anything, but I'm just pointing out, like, they are really not, you know, they're not on the nose. Yeah.
So become a circle roasting session. Y'all are really just ineffective at your position. Y'all just need to get it together. As
y'all don't know about the scientific theory. I mean,
oh my gosh, that bothers me so much.
Like, they're supposed to be scientists.
Y'all, yeah, and you just no regard for like, was it the 3 R's of like bioethics? No, nothing. I remember going on like a whole thing in like the theories channel, being like, they just no, not in theories channel. It was like in DMs or something. I was just they don't do it.
Like they specifically need these 3 books, and then they don't keep track of certain books or like catalog. They're just like, oops, one of them went with some student to the other world.
That's another
gosh
thing.
Darn.
Oh my gosh. Like, okay, before, I don't want to get too like off topic, but like, also, how do you know where they are? How do they know?
Mm-hmm.
How are they gonna know? But so
they've got like a divine metal detector or something.
It's beep beep beep.
Oh my god. But yeah,
I'm so dumb. I hate that. Can we please cut that out?
I'm not gonna cut that out.
No, cut it out. No, you cannot have me being stupid for like 5 seconds. You can't have that.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. I'll hate you guys. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Next topic. Next theory.
To finish the riddle. Did we finish the riddle? Did we finish
we basically did. We just kept looping with it, but
riddle. Basically finished the riddle. Yeah. So knowledge is power. They have the books. They have knowledge, right? They have power. If we're being really honest, they have influence. Basically everywhere, but like they have eyes everywhere. They have.
I mean, the government's funding them, for goodness sake. Yeah. So.
Whole Big Brother that really just makes
honestly, yes,
Big Brother.
They are.
But yeah, so my thing is like, they think they can do it too. Do what? The whole traveling thing? Who did they see up worlds? Mm-hmm. And they like, what, just like looking at, like, is it like kind of like how it's like they have paintings on the wall in the temple? What is this whole thing? Mm-hmm. And the whole right way to read it. Excuse me, part of that section. That's just not having the right, because you have the books. Mm-hmm. You have every other component except for thing that kind of connects them all together. Because you can travel with the book, Siren has said.
Yeah.
You can travel with the book to one place. But it's not like it doesn't keep the portal open. It just kind of, you can go, and it'll close.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to read it properly, you can go back.
Yeah.
But I guess also they've been holding on to just 2 books for however long because they've been sending people over and no one's coming back. Just nobody.
Nobody.
I'm like, how do you
They're
keep
all
it
stuck
open?
in these other worlds.
Yeah. I feel so badly. I'm like, who signs up for that? Hey, it's extra credit. Do you want to be part of this whole project? Yes.
Gotta sign a waiver. You might get stuck into another world. Good luck.
How do they? Because Darwin had the book with them when they went across.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Mel took the books with her. So are they just kind of there? And then like you cross, and then if you don't have a copy, you can't come back. You just like, can the book just stay in one dimension but open a portal to another?
Yeah. Like they fall through and they accidentally let go of the book. I don't know. It's all very iffy.
It's confusing. Brain hurts. Yeah.
That was the riddle.
The riddle.
Can you tell that we are all confused?
We're such great gremlins.
Yeah.
It comes with the job. Confusion is just part of the territory.
So the next bit that we're going to talk about is Felt and the invisible guy. I want to call him Tim, but his name is not
Tim. Because so for people that don't know, the invisible Yandere scientist, we shortened it to the Invisible Man, and then it became the acronym TIM.
Tim.
If we just say Tim,
yeah, we're just gonna call him Tim.
No one's typing out in Lore and Theories the invisible Yandere scientist.
That's too much work.
And we're like all going like when we're all like trying to say something really fast or like it's just too much. So Tim it is. I don't like it.
Tim.
Too bad.
So Tim seems like, based on the audio, that he might have been working with the circle, but not like under them. It doesn't feel like, because it kind of feels like he was doing his own thing, and then like, Felt was kind of like helping him out with it in a way, like, because Tim says like, oh yeah, like he received insight from Dr. Felt, and that's how he was able to perfect his formula. But Felt, I mean, the circle and Felt are not one to like just help anyone for the sake of helping people. They obviously have an agenda with that. So it's like, why did he help him? But like, Tim talks about how like the serum doesn't just make him go invisible, but it also allows him to pass through the veil and not be affected.
Can he pass through, or can he just see through it?
Yeah, it's...
I think because like he said he could see other worlds, but he couldn't. He's hidden in the veil. He can't cross to the other worlds that we know of, at least.
And he can come back unaffected, which I'm not sure that accurate, because if you heard the audio, he sounded really crazy, and maybe that's just like, him.
And I think that was like the whole, like, his mind almost transcended.
Yeah.
Like,
he just got flooded with info, so now he's a little crazy.
That like made you that off, that off in the head. Yeah. Such great English.
And then at the end of his audio, he notices that like one of the serums is missing, and he's like, who else could have taken it other than Felt? And then later on in our gremlin searches and theories, we've learned that Catherine Bow has been injected with said serum.
It's so great. It's so... I don't even know how he was able to, like, corner her. It's like, she's still, like... I think he said, like, she was drunk at a party, right?
Yeah, it was like some sorority party or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Like, she's a pretty popular girl. She's well known. How do you get, I guess, it's possible, but like, how did you get her alone? And like, why choose her to be your test subject?
She is the daughter
Like,
of the,
yeah,
Westhaven mayor, so
that's pretty high risk.
connections, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. I think Christy and I were talking about it in theories one time, and we were kind of theorizing that maybe Blair, because like they're the same age, so it makes sense that like Blair would be at a party with her, and then she could have like, when she was drunk, just kind of like stab injection.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's
Hilarious.
a
Definitely
possibility,
unorthodox. It fits her.
you know.
That whole serum. I think it's a really cool concept. It exists now. It's not just a
Yeah.
concept. Like, what did he? Why would Felt steal it? I think is like.
Also, when
Oh,
he stole it, could he replicate it to make more? Because like
no.
we talked about how like other agents like have gone through the veil and stuff, but couldn't come back. Did those agents maybe take the serum and then they just passed through, so they didn't have a book to get back or something like that? Like, I feel like that's a possibility.
If like he thought that because obviously like the reason why not obviously, but like we've talked about how with what he said, like in his audio, it seems like his mind almost transcended, but like his love for his listener is what kept him sane. And that whole
Yeah, totally
and the
sane.
whole transcending borderline sane.
Yeah.
His mind transcending or like that moment of like being able to transcend that's like how say Arthur, but the architect, his mind transcended. We're not really sure how. That's how he became the architect. And he's, a Walmart divine.
He did something, and then creator was like, "Yo, I'll keep you around."
You can stay. Um, but yeah, it's like, is that like because I remember like saying at one point, like, oh, is Dr. Felt the architect? It's like,
Oh yeah.
he stole the serum. This
Hmm.
made this guy's mind almost, he almost blew his mind. Did his mind actually get blown? And like that's how he became what he is? And Siren said no. But
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So but maybe like he knew it was possible for that to happen. So is that why he stole it?
Hmm.
And I don't know if like if they could replicate it, why then? I guess you could still like. I was like, how does that justify then bringing in Catherine to the school? But you'd still have to want to observe her, right? Because I think
Yeah.
also that was a beta test, right? Her version.
Uh-huh.
So you can be like, oh, you study her and be like, oh, hey, if they have a perfected version of it, you can see, oh, what happened, what went wrong in her version,
Yeah.
if anything did, right? Or like, how is ours different? How can we improve?
Hmm.
That whole like kind of mini storyline is very interesting.
Yeah. There's not a lot to it because it literally was just like one
Just one audio.
video, one audio, but it has a lot of info in it, just little
Yeah,
bits and pieces that I feel like could be still used in the future.
yeah.
So
I
hopefully
wonder
we'll
if it's
get to
just
see
like
more of that.
more of Tim would be
More
nice.
Tim.
I wonder if like it's just like another weapon in like the inner circle's arsenal.
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to help them if their whole thing is like to square up with the divines?
Hmm.
How is that going to help them? Like, if you're hiding in the veil, can't the divines really see through the veil? That already isn't that something they can already kind of do?
Yeah, that's
Or if
true.
they can,
I mean,
if they can't, and like you just have kind of like someone that can just like, hey, inject you with Moonbell serum. Now you're all weak, and we can actually square up. That'd be really cool.
that sounds epic.
Oh my gosh, they should give it to. Oh, I hope they do, but also don't give it to Blair. That should be scary.
Oh god, no. She's already unhinged.
This is just another level. Yeah, no. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, what's up next? Jace.
Jace. Uh, we sigh immediately.
Basically, why is the so I can't even get through it. Um, Circle has made it, honestly, they make it like pretty known who they favor the school. But, Glass, I'm sure, is like either kind of indifferent to, or like, I'll say indifferent, but like the whole thing with Dr. Stone is that they became sympathetic to the test subjects, which is, that's so horrible. These are kids, man.
I know.
They became sympathetic, and so they were removed. And so I guess, especially when it comes to divine descendants, they're not especially kind. I feel like that just might be me, but that's what the vibe is. And the fact that's what the vibe is. It's the vibe to me. And Jace, they gets away with literally almost murder. So why are they covering for him? What have they used him for? What are they planning on using him for? Have they used him for anything? What's the deal? And are they condone, or like, are they aware of his plans for a new pack? For a new band of werewolves at Westhaven.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they cover for him so much. As like, pretty, like, he's kind of like a loose cannon, as we've seen in like the Greg audio. Like, he's losing his control, or like in, I don't want to say daylight, but like, in public, basically.
Public to a crowd.
Yeah, like in a whole, like a crowd of like students, teachers, people that don't know about the supernatural. Like,
Dr.
he doesn't
Quartz
care.
just standing on the sidelines being like, oop.
Yeah, so if they were there, they have to know then. Like, oh yeah, and like they saw blood coming from Greg's shirt, they have to know that who bit him.
Yeah.
Because I doubt Corbin has, even with him being possessed, like, he's gonna bite that
Got
hard.
chompers like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, nah. I know exactly who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, why are they covering for him? It doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't you want to kind of care more about the divine descendants, like, because they're more, I don't say they're more valuable, but to their plans,
Yeah,
they
technically
are.
for them.
They technically are. If they're going to treat them like test subjects, they are more valuable test subjects. So, like, you all, like, I'm sure they knew that he almost drowned Cam. They have cameras everywhere. Oh my goodness, like, you're not going to reprimand him for almost drowning one of the people that is pretty key to your
I mean,
projects.
I guess part of it is trying to see like how much they can push the boundaries with, especially with Cam. Like, Cam doesn't even know, well, now he knows that he's got some divine blood and probably some wacky powers. But before, he didn't know. So I feel like having Jace kind of like push his buttons to see what would happen and like what he can do would be a good test in a way.
Maybe I'm just soft, but that's such a mean test.
I mean, it's
There
the
are other
circle.
ways. Yeah, I
They
know.
caged Abe back when he was
Literally,
like
like, we're beating him up, so I guess,
yeah.
it makes sense. Just not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they cover for him. I guess also, like, we figured they were connected because this is also maybe not canon. We're not really sure how canon this is, but the Hearst tapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her niece and nephew, or her relatives that she mentioned in that kind of script. One of them was a nephew. And we realized that was, or we pretty much guessed that was the hunter in the Grayson audios.
Yeah.
Was like sent out there, and Jace said in his audios he, didn't tell the hunter that he told the hunter where the pack was. So we're wondering if like the hunter had a connection to the circle through Nicole, or whoever, through, I guess, yeah, Nicole still. Through Nicole, and that's how, the circle was like, hey, we have a guy. I'll go take care of that
can do
for you.
For us,
He'll go take care of that for you, and you will come here. Like, we're not really sure how that happened. Also, how did Jace find out about them if they're a secret organization? Did they approach
I mean,
him?
they probably approached him because like the whole thing is like, why would he kill off his pack? Okay, it's so he can do his own thing. How can he do that? He needs some. I feel like he'd need some initiative to like come up with that plan. I'm not saying Jace is stupid, but But I feel like he might need a push
You're
to,
not
like, get
stupid, you're
him in
just not
that
creative
mindset.
enough.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like the circle would be like, "Hey, you know, we see some potential in you, and, this pack is, like, really bringing you down.
They're
We
so
got a
boring.
guy."
Why don't you come with us? We'll handle
Yeah.
him. And you'll just run with us.
Mhm.
Um, but it's kind of like, I don't want to say backfired for them, but like kind of has.
Yeah.
Because it's new pack business.
Yeah.
We don't even know if they know. And especially like not even just the whole pack thing. Like, Greg,
Mhm.
obviously his was an accident. Like him
Yeah.
being turned was an accident. So the courts saw it happen. So Inner Circle is like, they definitely know now that Greg is going to be turned. That Greg is now
Mhm.
going to be kind of thrust into this world of supernatural.
Mhm.
So how are they going to like handle that? Do they
Yeah,
plan to
keep
like,
him
oh yeah,
quiet or stop him or
yeah,
yeah,
because
it's
he was already kind of looking. He was like, this is weird how things happen here.
he was already sus about the whole, like,
Yeah.
academy itself. He's like, "Yeah, every time I ask about, the principal, Glass is, like, giving me the evil eye."
So he was already kind of probably like on their radar for like, oh, he's definitely someone who like is trying to find things that he really should not has no business
Mhm.
knowing about, and now he's definitely gonna know about it. And is
Mhm.
he going to say anything to anyone? Like, I mean, I guess maybe not because he is now also a werewolf. I almost called him a vampire. I guess now since he's also a werewolf, right? Like he doesn't want people to like lock him away. He probably wouldn't want school to do anything either. Like, is the school going to go after him now? Because they're like, he's unpredictable and he's a new one.
Mhm.
So we want to try and keep this kind of circle of people that are in the know to a minimum. And in order to do that, we have to like kind of lock him up.
Yeah.
Are they going to try and keep him quiet? Do they think they need to kind of contain him?
I mean, I don't
Also,
know. The circle doesn't seem to really
not
monitor. I mean, they
proactive.
monitor everything. They don't really act on anything. They kind of
Which
just
is
like,
so
okay, let's see how
dumb.
this unfolds.
It's like the whole thing. Like, I was surprised they like with how like Nicole and Abe in the Hearst tapes, right? How they got
Mhm.
away. I'm pretty sure like them leaving is still canon.
Yeah. At
Like,
least her being somewhat
yeah,
involved with the circle.
yeah. Like, how were they able? How did they let them get away? And also, like, they were fine with like not, bringing them in sooner because they were
Yeah.
afraid of like Nicole speaking out, right? Because even if they, the world wouldn't believe about like werewolves and vampires and monsters,
Mhm.
beating up a guy, beating up, someone is cruel. So, and
Yeah.
you can definitely still get in trouble for that. So, like, how are they
Mhm.
so sure that she wasn't going to say anything?
Yeah.
It took them however many years them to bring, I guess, kind of lure them back to Westhaven.
Yeah. With a
And
job offer for Abe.
yeah, I don't, I don't understand the circle.
They really don't think things through, do they? But I feel like going back to the whole like Jace thing, I feel like they do know because in the last little end bit of audio with Jason Noah mentioned like having a file on that student. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure they'd know if a file was missing because they knew immediately when like, Zeke and Cam got a file.
Mhm. And
So,
that's like the whole like that's what I was like with Kion saying, "Oh yeah, I've done it before," right? Like the whole it
mhm.
sounds like you've given keys away. I was wondering if that was Jason Noah.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't they know then? Like, wouldn't they stop? Like, put a stop if this is like the second time someone's broken in? Unless they put like the files back like right after, like they take a picture and
Mhm.
like just leave it. But
They kind of just let everybody do their own thing and they just watch. That's what they do. Okay, the circle doesn't do anything. The circle just watches things happen.
it's so I don't want to be rude. Like that's so dumb. It's not even dumb. It's just like you're not being careful. So many things
Like
could
you're
go
supposed
wrong.
to be. scientist, but you're not sciencing right now.
Secret scientists, and the secret is really close to getting out a lot.
Mhm.
So, what are y'all doing? But yeah, I wonder if they're gonna like tell Jace and be like, "Hey, can you calm down with the whole turning thing? Because you're gonna expose not just yourself but us if you keep this up. If you keep on doing it during school,
Yeah.
the hallway."
Especially because like he never gets reprimanded. So then he's already like
Yeah.
everybody already sees that he's favored by the school in some way or another. So it's like that's already sus. Like, and now like Jace is like, yeah, I'm gonna, make my posse, make my crew, and like
Really just let him get away with anything.
everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Everything and anything.
It's so confusing. Like, what's the plan here? Why do you let him do this? I don't know.
How does this help you? How does this help their whole agenda?
Really? Like, I don't understand how, like, Almost Drowning Cam is really helping with the research agenda. Like,
Maybe figure like, oh, Kion's not Kion. Jace is gonna just get himself killed, so then he'll be out of their hair.
yeah, he's gonna lead to his own destruction. We don't.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna handle this kid. We don't need to worry. You, Grayson.
Next thing they know, Quartz is just walking down the hall, and Greg's getting bit by this stupid kid.
Gosh, they should have had Adran on your team, you guys, instead of making him a janitor. It's terrible.
But I mean, Adran was already sus,
He was sus of them, yeah. Which
he was like, I smell bad intention from this guy, from Jedidiah.
Yeah, so like I guess the only have leverage on him through Ronnie. Which is like I was like, how do they get him to work at the school if he doesn't like y'all? Like, what is this? But I would keep his brother.
I mean, I guess keep an eye on your bro. Make sure that he's not getting killed.
Yeah. Look what you got me into. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm mopping up after these stupid
Cleaning up your messes.
Yeah. I have to watch out for kids biting people. What is this?
I think it's funny, probably because Adran probably had to clean up whatever mess happened from like the fight that Jason Corbin had. There's just like blood on the floor, and then he's like, I smell a stupid like wet dog here or something like that.
It smells like wet dog in here.
Yeah.
I used to be somebody. So just seduce anybody I wanted, and I had blood for the night. I had great things going for me. I was at the height of society, of Sapphire City society.
So fancy.
And now I'm at the bottom.
Now I'm a janitor.
Nothing wrong with being a janitor, you guys. We're just poking fun at Adran.
It's just because it's Adran, because he was so fancy and
formal.
Such a fancy boy. And every time I picture him going from like, this fancy schmancy vampire with like a whole manor to like the janitor, I just imagine that scene from the Princess Diaries where it's like, I could take this and give you a princess, but instead it's just Adran as janitor with like a mop in his hand.
Yes. Oh my! It's like reverse Cinderella. Like those like someone like basically turned the story. They're like, if you turn it backwards, it's like a rich and a snobby girl being taught a lesson and being like turned into a servant. Something along those lines. I was like, oh my gosh, Adran, that's you. This is you.
This is you.
Sorry, we got so off topic.
I know. Okay, where were we? We talked about Jace. I think we talked about Jace. We're good.
We talked about Jace.
So we just covered Jace and his connection to the circle, which is really confusing, and the circle is just a hot mess with taking care of him. So from there, let's just move on to Kion, the man, the myth, the legend, our famous info broker.
The most chaotic character. Oh, not the most, but the funniest character, I think, at Westhaven.
Like, he's just so, like, what was it? Like, he'll like stand by like a burning building and like take a picture and take a selfie or something like that.
Like anything to amuse me.
So Kion, or Kion J. Hill, J potentially being Jedidiah. maybe.
Getting the grandfather or great grandfather's middle as your middle name.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because he is the son of Principal Hill, which we are pretty sure is Dr. Felt of the Inner Circle.
99.99% sure.
Yes, just like we are with Arthur Tess. It's 99.999% sure. Um and I don't know, Kion's deal with like the whole circle thing is a bit iffy. Like he kind of just does his own thing. And it doesn't seem like, cuz for like 100% for sure, Blair is like 100% in. She's like, "Yeah, I'm working for the circle. I've got my job to do. You know, don't call me Blair. I'm not your daughter. I'm the operator." Um but then there's Kion just like, "What's up? Hanging out."
Isn't this gonna take off your dad? Yeah, it might. Whatever.
Yeah. So like, I mean, he basically was just like, "Oh, you know, Zeke, you want to go like check out these files? Cool. Can you grab me a file? Wink, wink."
He was so wrong with that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, he knew what was gonna happen.
Knew exactly what's gonna happen. Just causing chaos.
Yeah, as he does. So, it's kind of unclear how he feels about the circle. Like, so we're pretty sure he knows about it and is very much in the know, considering his dad is most likely Dr. Felt, the head
That he
of
asked for the
the freaking
file.
circle. Yeah. He asked for the specific, like, you know, file in the black cabinet with the red circle. Pretty sure he's, like, in the know, so it's like, does he want to be a part of it? Does he want to fight against it? Because we would assume maybe fight against it because he helped out Zeke and, like, literally at the end of the last Westhaven episode, he texted Zeke and was like, "Hey, yo, meet me in the morning."
I, I don't. Yeah, I keep on like stopping and like stuttering. All of these characters confuse me. Their motives.
Yeah, it's really just unclear what anybody wants to do. Like, are you in it? Are you out of it? Are you
Yeah.
connected? Do you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, because like I'm sure also I feel like with him, right? He must have like the whole thing talked about like how they operate, right? So the inner circle, like the members realize like they probably won't live long enough, or they might not live long enough to achieve their true goals. Ones that have children will train them to take their place, or
Yeah.
unless there's a better candidate.
Which is what happens in, like, Dr. Stone's, basically, situation.
Mhm. For Felt and Glass, it seems they've gone, the whole descendant route.
Eld
And
route, yeah.
yeah, so maybe it's like Blair's all in, right? This is something she's been preparing for her whole life. And
Mhm.
she wants this.
Yeah.
Let's just say Cam, not Cam. Kion doesn't seem, he's not as invested, right? And it seems for groups
Mhm.
like these, you're either in or you're out. There's no,
You're not really there's no in between.
yeah. And honestly, there can't really be for something at this level, right? So
Mhm.
I guess he's maybe not, it's like an expectation, right? Especially with his father being the head of the organization.
Yeah.
Like, it's expected for him to take over this position and to support and help, make progress towards
Mhm.
true goals. But like maybe it's not actually what he wants. Because the way he's
Yeah.
acting and how he's helped the trio, it's like
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like he does, right? Like
Yeah.
he's if he was more invested, he wouldn't be helping them as much. He wouldn't be making, even
Mhm.
if it seems like it's not helping. Like it seems like it didn't help them, right? With like finding out that they have like him finding out because it might just hurt him more. Like it hurt his relationship with his family. Now has to
Yeah.
deal with this on top of his whole situation with Jace and all of them, right? But like making them aware, like makes them more involved than they were before,
Mhm.
right? Because we're not really sure who knows about their abilities, who doesn't,
Yeah.
who is aware of like other people being supernatural, right? And whose side they're on. So now that they do know, they're kind of in this loop. And they can't get out.
Mhm.
So it was and it was unexpected for that to happen. That was not something the circle was
Yeah.
going to do. So now that Kion has kind of has forced this to happen, adds new, not dynamic, but that adds new factors and variables into this whole thing, right? Now the circle has to account for that and Jace's thing and trying to get the Project Riftrunner and other things to get, done. Like,
they've just got a lot of work on their hands, and it just
so
keeps
much.
piling up because they literally do nothing to prevent these things from happening.
Yeah, like, do more, you guys.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so like Kion, I feel like he gets away with stuff because, he is the kid of, Principal Hill, Dr. Felt. So I guess like in that way, I feel like I kind of feel like Glass cares about his daughter Blair.
Yeah.
We only got a little bit, but he wanted to call her out as Blair and not just call her by her designation as like the operator. And it seemed like the way that she responded, where she was basically like, "No, Dad, I'm the operator." It kind of seems like they have like
Professional dad.
some issues. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's some kind of caring there. So we don't know much about Felt, but maybe there's an element of like he kind of cares about his kid because it is his kid. So maybe he kind of gives Kion some leeway in that way, and that's why Kion is able to do what he does. But now I feel like he should be in trouble. No.
Yeah, because like you're literally making people aware of things that they were not really supposed to be. Like, it's not even just like him having powers. They know the school is watching them. Because now he can go to Abe and he can go to Nicole, and then they can just leave again. And those are, that's if you include Logan and Shane, right? Because they're still in the area. That's
Yeah.
what, 4 descendants now gone in the wind, right? And they're not going to get them back unless they can come up with another cover, and they don't really have any other one. So it's like that's a huge risk for them. And I don't really like the whole dynamic with Felt and Kion. Felt, Principal Hill and Kion. Don't know a lot about it. But like I feel like it could be, like he's, gives him more leeway. I feel like it also could be like if Felt was willing to, it was so desperate that he was going to like attack Abe, right? He puts a lot of pressure on himself and like the situation, and that pressure he might also put on Kion. Right? Like, this is what you have to uphold. This is, this is what and he doesn't, maybe not that he doesn't prioritize Kion, but like he doesn't, like, there's care there. But it's not like, he's like, this is, my priority is this. Is, achieving this goal.
His focus is on the circle, not so much on his own kid.
And he's like, this should be your priority too. Kion's like, all right, this is my priority, but it's not going to be, this might be part of my priority, but my priority is myself. And I'm going to make my priority the circle, like, to mess with you.
Yeah. I feel like the circle, or at least Felt, knows about Kion being kind of like known as his info broker, because it seems like pretty much all the students know about this. Like, because Zeke was like, oh yeah, he's like an info broker, basically. I feel like those are exactly the words that like Zeke said at one point. Like he knows everything that's going on, because he is the principal's son, and so he can get away with it. And I feel like maybe that's kind of used as like, oh, these are points that people can like push each other to do certain things, and we'll see the outcome of it. And this is how we're like seeing the interaction between other supernaturals, is how they test supernaturals. Aside from the whole war games thing, like, because I feel like an everyday watching situation, they are essentially testing them in little tiny ways.
Yeah, because they're observing them. Like, the whole purpose of school is like to observe, supernatural beings interact, and just like who's like, also like how in control they are. Because Cam's thing was an accident, right? The whole, I'm sure Jace, turning Greg was an accident, so he lost a bit of control there. They also seem to like created instances of like students becoming part of the supernatural community, like Corvin and Connie.
Yeah,
those books were at the school. They were from like I was going to say secret section. They were from the kind of
the weird section.
The weird section, the section that no one goes to. This is also,
but it doesn't seem like it's a prohibited section. It's not like Harry Potter.
And that's also the whole thing with Jace getting the file and being able to turn certain students, right? Like
Mhm.
kind of creating situations for students to become part of the community, or like to see, oh, how is this person, right? They're both takers, right? They'll do whatever it takes to kind of not just elevate themselves, but
What
accomplish
they
what they
want.
want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, how are these people going to react in these situations based off of these traits, right?
Mhm.
Which is pretty clever. I'll give it to them. So yeah, you were saying about like Kion being like he knows, like he
Mhm.
picks up on stuff right from people. So he's able to see how certain people interact, like Jason Corbin, and they don't get along very well, or
Yeah.
Honey or whoever with other people. And I'm sure
Mhm.
maybe he reports that to his dad, and like his dad uses him for that kind of.
Yeah, get that insider look. Because, like, cameras and stuff and, like, watching can only do so much.
Yeah.
But, like, actually seeing the dynamic and hearing the dynamic from,
Mhm.
like, a source like Kion is
Mhm.
pretty powerful information.
Yeah. So maybe Keon resents him for that too. Like all you ever talk to me about is how other students are. You never ask how I'm doing.
Yeah. Like, at the dinner table, dad, I want you
Not
to
my
ask me how
day.
my day was.
Don't ask me how Blair's doing. I don't care about Blair. Gosh, hate her. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so he's involved. We don't know exactly where he is. He seems to be like pretty chaotic. Like he's chaotic neutral. Is he going to at some point? He's probably going to have to pick a side. We're not really sure. Is he going to go with what he's obligated to, or is he going to what's the right thing to do?
So, next theory concept that we have is like the whole thing with like the circle and the tritium. I've always thought that the mafia in one way or another was connected to the circle just cuz it just makes sense
Yeah.
to get that kind of like allyship in
Especially
line,
in Sapphire
you
City,
know.
like
Yeah.
the stuff that goes on.
Get connections everywhere. It just makes sense to me. And the tritium specifically because they're the ones who are processing and making glamour, which comes from another world. So,
Like, how did they get a book? Like, the only way
mhm,
whoever has it, right? And that's, I think, also part of why we made the connection at first, right? Was like,
mhm,
the Tritium is they have like basically the original version of Malachite. They have access to it, and the only way you have access to it
yeah,
is if you either have a yellow dragon with you, which I doubt because
yes.
Westhaven, unless this is going
I mean, they
to
could just have one in like a
just locked
cell
up
somewhere, but
somewhere.
also, how did they
Yeah,
get it, you know?
like the whole thing like with rifts or like tears in the veil is kind of like that's an Aster thing, and also like that was since it was a commission, it's not we're not really sure how canonically accurate it is.
And there, also, riffs, like Siren talked about it. He was like, they are super rare.
Yeah.
If in canon, they'd be super rare. So I doubt like it just so happened that like one yellow dragon happened to pop up in
Where am I?
Sapphire.
Um, but so either you have one there with you, or you're able to go back and forth from Altera to uh, Westhaven, and the only way you can do that was with a gate artifact. And so I think we were like, oh, the only people that really know about them are circle people. So
Yeah.
is the circle running Tritium, and like that's how they also make money because I don't if you're funded by the government, do you, how much more do you need? Because you seem to be like you have a cushiony, and you're also getting tuition from students. Because you have normal students,
Hmm.
and it's a private academy. It's pretty expensive.
I mean, I guess it could also be just part of like testing
Hmm.
stuff. So they're like the circle, if they got their hands on Malisai and formed it into glamour or whatever and sell it, they could, basically use willing subjects
Hmm. Also,
for
like
testing it for God
yeah,
knows what.
Malachite is like is glamour. That's just like the street name. Like
Yeah.
the glamour is like how strong it is. It's like
Hmm.
I don't understand how you create that from plants. How do you make It's like it's
magic.
literally like dragon breath. How are you replicating that with plants? But
It's all magic.
for real. But like I guess I think we also talked what you said, right? We talked about in the server, like the whole thing with Irene, right? Creating Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because she was using
Creating Zeke.
creating Zeke. She was using glamour while she was pregnant, and that's how Zeke got his abilities. And I guess because of with the accident and everything, right? They would have records. And the circle probably would find a way to get access. They'd be like, "Oh, this is interesting. How do we recreate that? Because you're creating basically a super soldier, right?
Yeah.
Cannot be killed. Well, it cannot easily be killed if you train them.
Zeke is the Winter Soldier.
Basically. Oh, I love and hate that. Oh my gosh, no, no, he's been through too much already. Don't do this to him. Oh no. Okay, back on track. Anyway, like how would they recreate that, right? And someone that actually would work for the circle. How they could basically brainwash them into basically becoming like a stronger version of the operator, like an invincible version. And the way to do that would be administering versions of Melisite to people. Because also and seeing like what versions melt people. Because that's like the whole side of like it's a possibility, right? Like, oh, it destroys people. It's like I don't know how
it breaks down their cellular structure.
Yeah, like how are you taking something like that? Like I don't. It's crazy.
I mean, people get desperate. I don't know.
Yeah, but like if you heard, oh yeah, someone took this and they literally melted or like broke down, turned to dust. I wouldn't touch that. I guess that's just me.
I
But like
mean,
who
I feel like we're sane enough to know not to take that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people are on hard times and they just need a high, I guess.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. We do not condone
at all.
It is bad.
Tritium. I forgot what we were talking about for a second.
Tritium.
That was a whole. But then we were like, oh, they can't really. We kind of aren't sure about their connection because if Tritium was aware of sending someone back and forth, the circle hasn't managed to do that yet until now, until Betty's episode, and that's like a new revelation for them, right? Also, if they had another gate artifact, they wouldn't be worried about. They keep on saying they have two. They wouldn't. They don't have. If it was Tritium, they would have the three. So I'm pretty sure we're like it was a possibility. Not really sure if they're like maybe they are connected, but like Tritium isn't telling them they have a gate artifact. But then how would they know to travel?
Yeah.
It's confused maybe.
I don't know. It's weird. Like there's potential connection, but we don't know. Again, hitting a wall. Again.
We're just running into walls. That's why we're losing brain cells. Anyway, so now I think we've kind of debunked the Tritium connection. But we're like we're still wondering like how did Tritium how do they get an artifact, right? Who this is something you can only find in Altera, but they don't really know a lot about Altera. They only really know about the houses, and they don't know a whole lot about half-bloods or they don't really know anything about half-bloods, let alone different types, right?
I mean, they could.
We don't know what they know.
We don't know. Because, I mean, okay, so they have the gate artifact. It has information in it. And clearly from, like, one of the audios, like, those end bit audios where, like, we're assuming it's Felt who's reading it. And it's talking about, like, moonbells are the kryptonite of divines. So, like, I feel like if you can read that in one of the books...
I need you to finish that in that voice.
No, I don't even know what that voice was. It was like I'm doing, like, a
posh accent.
Old cartoon.
Miss it. It was so good.
Anyway, it's the kryptonite of divines, and so if they have that information, I feel like they could read a page about half-bloods.
I guess.
Or there should be a page. I don't know.
Should be, because it's. I mean, I guess it's also like what you prioritize, like the whole thing with Cersei. We were like, oh, she has the same book, right? I guess this was like we're very unsure of like they all seem to be the same, all copies of the gate artifact,
Yeah.
but like they're called Gate to Altera, right? Is the copy that
Mhm.
Darwin has, and like, oh, are there other gates to other places? Like, is it all just
Yeah.
titled Gate to Altera? Because it doesn't
Mhm.
make it, then how are you going to travel to Grestenfell or Earth or whatever?
Yeah.
But like, they all contain basically the same information. They seem to be.
So wait, if the circle has 2 books, so they probably have Gate to Altera.
Mhm.
So does that mean they also have like Gate to Earth or
That's what
Westhaven,
I'm like.
whatever it
It's
might be
so
called?
confusing. Like, what exactly is like? How do they differ? Because he just keeps on like chugging out the same book. Is the architect
Mm.
just chugging out the same book, or like is he throwing different? Like, because it seems redundant to throw a magic book about Altera to an Alteran.
Yeah.
Right? Like how to get to Altera if you're an Alteran.
Hmm.
Like beings
But
on
I
Earth.
guess it has other stuff in it
Yeah.
too. So I mean,
Yeah. It's confusing. We don't know a lot about what's in the books. Like,
I feel like he doesn't have any rime or reason to throwing stuff out. Like he probably has a stack of books and he's like,
links them into the
push it
universe.
into the void, and then it just
Yeah.
goes
It'll find its ways
somewhere.
to someplace to some person.
Honestly.
It's like I feel so not badly. I'm just like, my guy, how many people that have books are bad people? Like, you gotta be more careful. You say that, oh, I wanted, to not fall into the wrong hands. It keeps on falling into the wrong hands.
Anyway, that's the circle and the tritium. Next is Dr. Stone. We talked about Dr. Stone, right?
I think we brought it up, but we didn't really talk about it. Like, obviously, it's like old Dr. Stone was removed from their post, so the listeners are replacing them. We know why they were removed, but we don't know what happens to them after they're asked to leave.
Afterwards.
Like, it's not like a Nicole situation where she just up and left.
It's very suspicious as to what happened to the previous Dr. Stone.
Like, are they dead? Are they locked up?
Probably.
They're probably dead.
I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm being real. I feel like they're dead.
Probably. I mean, yeah, that'd make the most sense.
Unless they happen to go into hiding somewhere, but I don't know. Can that happen
Bale's
twice
listener?
in the
Oh my
circle?
goodness. They were Dr. Stone.
Mm.
That'd be hilarious. I mean, we've talked about them being having worked for the circle, maybe.
Potentially. Because, like, why is their house protected?
Who are
But
you hiding from?
I don't know if they know. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. And also kind of like, oh no. We're not sure how even if they don't kill them, like, how would they not expose them? Like, how would they make sure that that person didn't expose them? I guess it's like the fear of like being sought, like coming after the circle coming after them.
Because, I mean, the circle has resources that are very scary. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to, like, go against them either. When you have, like, the government backing you up, it's kind of like,
You will be
ooh.
silenced.
Yep.
So, PAs now. Okay. So, I think we talked about this a little bit before. The divine energy detector.
Yes.
Terrible. So Siren has said that there's like they radiate divine energy and people can either sense them or like there's another way. I don't know if it's the other way that the circle uses or like it's just like the circle has their ways. Said.
Finding them somehow.
How do you
or detecting them.
know? How do you detect them?
I doubt technology can really detect a gate artifact. So
Magic and
I don't
technology
think
have
they've
not
got like
mixed
a
yet.
metal detector. Yeah.
So,
to our knowledge.
We know of. Maybe that's what they're trying to do with Daryl Rain's dad. Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh,
potentially.
that'd be cool.
Magic tech.
That'd be so cool. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Maybe the circle has a person, and that's part of. I think we keep on like talking about in the Hearst tapes, like who are the other 2 subjects, and I don't know if they're still canon or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like the test. We're not really sure who the other test subjects are, but maybe one of them was someone that could sense, a gate artifact or key to finding gate artifacts and That'd be interesting if it was like all three, right? Like you have a person that'll help, because it's a descendant, right? Someone that's all like three parts that, oh my gosh, words. If all three subjects were people that were is good for the ritual, but also like is good for finding divines. You have someone that can find gate artifacts, and then you have someone that either knows the ritual or knows how to find the architect for the ritual or something like that, right? But that's unlikely.
I mean, I feel like the most effective way would be because we know that at least Abe, right? He's a divine descendant, and he could sense divine energy close by.
Ooh.
So it would make sense for a divine descendant to be able to detect a gate artifact potentially. But then again, architect, I don't know. It's all weird.
It's so weird. I mean, also he probably can't. He can only probably detect it in a certain radius, which is why anything that was like a gate artifact, he maybe passed it off as like a stronger descendant, like Mel or Judah or something, right? Maybe their signatures are like are as strong as like their blood. It sounds so weird, but like Cam's only a quarter, and Judah's like half, so maybe he has a stronger kind of aura than Cam does. I don't know if that's accurate or not, guys, but so yeah, maybe he mistook the gate artifact for that. Any like gate artifact. We've talked about it being other Nyx descendants, right? Because like he's probably had kids with people.
It would make sense. Nyx goes around.
Being polite. So maybe it may be other descendants.
Okay. So...
No, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
No, I just fizzed out. It's okay. I'm just like blabbing. I don't even know what I just said. I feel like my brain is not processing anything.
Me too. We're almost done. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
We have to cut it down.
Is a new episode gonna upload today?
No. We just had one on the 4th. Oh my gosh, maybe. Recording while an episode is being dropped. That'd be great. Oh god.
I think so.
Oh gosh. Today.
Yeah, last episode said it was 2 days ago, so it's gonna be 3 days once it hits
6
in 2 minutes.
Oh great. Oh.
Moving on. Next thing that we have to theorize about is now that like Zeke, Cam, Hot Stuff, they know what's happening. And Siren had mentioned the well, we know that there are dorms at Westhaven Academy. So the potential of like making dorms either permanent or just
mandatory.
Either Cam and Zeke kind of like doing it out of just precaution to keep whatever's happening away from their family. But I mean, Cam is gonna involve his family real soon because he's about to ask his pops what the heck is going on.
Wait.
So
that'll be so great.
I mean, dorms would be a good idea on the Circle's part to monitor things even closer, because then they're literally
you don't have situations
in your
like
view.
Kion telling them, "Oh, go look at this file for me." You don't have that happening like that.
Other than that, I have no clue how like the Circle's gonna keep watch of, because they know what's going on, and Cam really seems like he's like, I want to let the world know what's going on.
I would too. Brad, my school was monitoring me. What?
Yeah, Zeke's a bit more like, I just don't want to get involved.
Not in this mess.
Which is also a mood.
For real. I just want to go to school, please. I don't want to be involved in whatever nonsense they're doing.
This is,
whatever the situation is. I think it'll definitely make it harder for them to, because dorms don't have like, I don't know, my dorms didn't really have like a whole like curfew thing, but like, you weren't out at certain times, right? I don't know if this is like a whole dorm thing. This is just for me. Like people were out, but like we're kind of on campus, especially like during like final season or whatever, like they would kind of have a curfew. Like a be quiet at this time, especially during the week. The weekends it was a bit more lax, but like during the week, you were like, you're gonna be out, be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can enforce a curfew. Maybe they do, and then that'll make it difficult for
I mean, it's a fancy smancy academy. They can
whatever they
do
want.
whatever they want.
Yeah, and are they going to keep them all separate?
And apparently they already do whatever
do.
they want, so
It's just more. Are they? I wonder if they'll keep up the.
so.
Oh my gosh, words. I wonder if they'll keep them apart.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder also if the dorms, because we know that there are dorms, I wonder if they're like, again, going back to Harry Potter, if they're like allocated? That's not the word. I'm not saying it. I don't know if they're separated by faction.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that
Would make
makes sense. But that would also be very scary because that would mean that Zeke would end up in the same dorm building, at least, as Jace and Noah.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. So, but that would offer a lot of great story.
It would plot the real mover of all of these things. Yeah. I wonder how it's really gonna hurt, you know, I was gonna say the trio. The group, gang.
The words, it's okay. Again, like we said in the last episode, we are here to learn English too.
I've been practicing. I don't know why it's not working. I've been saying my words every day, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, please cut that out. We're tired if you didn't. We've been recording for a long time. So we're very tired.
Yeah, we're at the loopy end of where we're just kind of blabbing and things are coming out of our mouth and we're not even processing it.
If we get
we're basically working like the circle does. We're just doing.
We are the circle.
Without thinking.
We would be great scientists.
We are the circle.
We'd be great scientists by circle standards.
Yep. You know, no need for scientific
We're just
theory.
Gonna take something and
just
go
do.
with it. And if
yep. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
this is just like a roast
really
of the circle,
I mean,
honestly.
It is. And they deserve it. If we're, you know.
Come on, circle, step up. We're calling you out.
Yeah, so the group, right? It's definitely gonna be harder for them to get together. I think if they were, or like, I mean, they can technically leave campus, but like
they probably can't leave Westhaven. Like, I feel like the school's gonna stop them, or at least they'll be scared to like leave Westhaven.
Oh, you know what they could do, because now what? Mel and Darlin have gone missing, right? They'll be like, oh, we're gonna put in curfews. We're gonna have like kind of checks, make sure people aren't, you know, because of these disappearances.
Yes, we're doing it for your safety. Air quotes.
So they probably won't be able to go to Zeke's spot, which is like the place where they had the most privacy. And even then, Jace and Noah now know. Yeah. So they've lost that too. And they know that Jace and Noah are, you know, I don't know if they know that they're part of it, but they know that they're not normal. Or they at least know that Jace is not normal. Yeah. And they probably don't trust him.
They know that.
But not probably. They definitely don't trust him. So they are not going to want to say things in front of him. Yeah. Especially if the school's covering for him. I feel like they know, like, oh, there's something weird. Yeah, so it's going to be difficult for them to speak freely about, you know, whatever plans they do have
going on.
And the circle, I feel like it would help them, but also they've been facing difficulties with keeping everything contained before, so I guess this is their solution to it.
So that's the dorm talk. And then lastly, we're on to our last theory talk. Yes, here we go.
So, oh my gosh, okay. As said, in part 6 of Benny's audio, right? At an operative that they had in Terra. For some reason, they had someone go there, find Mel, and bring it back. That was the first time. So now that was how they recovered one artifact. And then, surprisingly, someone that was already there that they lost, and I guess they didn't have any hopes of finding again, found one of the other gate artifact that Mel had with her. And they were able to cross back. And they said the whole thing with Mel, right? They found some very interesting, you know, observations from that, and it might be the key to a breakthrough in their research. And they have notes on the ritual. not notes of the ritual that they
Mhm.
acquired, quote unquote. My thing
Yeah.
is like, who is this person? Is it Cockroach? Oh, by the way,
For listeners, yes.
do you want to explain Cockroach or?
Yes, so Cockroach is the nickname that we've given, the the mage person in Theo's story, the mage that was, that kept the listener captive, basically. We call him Cockroach because he died potentially, but it's that thing if like you don't see a dead body, nobody's dead. So he might still be alive. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I forget how we got to that lovely little nickname for
Yeah, we ended up just being like, you know
the
what? He's
Cockroach.
Cockroach. That's it.
So we wondering because I think we had talked about it being him before, like because he was doing he had very scientific speech in like his sections, right? And he was really looking forward to working on what's it called, the gate artifact, like this book, right? So and he was like, oh, she
Yeah.
gave me a fake. He knew. I don't know if it was just because it went wrong. He knew, like, or like, oh, he
Hmm.
figured out, oh, this is a right one. Or I guess doesn't make sense as a sentence. Or like, if this is Cockroach,
I feel like he found out after
yeah, he's
using
like,
it,
oh,
basically.
this is trash. This is a bootleg. I need them.
It's a fake copy. What do you take me for, a
Yes,
fool? Yes.
because you're an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not really like. It would make sense. Like, he did work for Cersei and like kind of like taker aligned people. I feel like a lot of the people
Hmm.
that are working for the circle are takers. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it almost like is a requirement, or like they'd have to be because they're willing to go so far, right, for this
Hmm.
goal.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I feel like Siren mentioned that, like, even the members of the circle kind of do,
Yeah.
like, a test, kind of like how the students do, which probably does end up aligning them to, like, a faction, like, at least in terms of, like, how they act
Yeah.
and stuff. And from there, they're like, yeah, you're a good candidate. Join
Mhm.
our team.
You have
Take
no
over the
givers
world.
in the circle.
Yeah. Oh, no,
You're
of course
fired.
not.
Why? Your aptitude test was so off. You're a good guy. Out.
It's funny, though, that Kion and Blair are seekers, though.
Yeah, you would think that.
If they're supposed to be next in line, you'd think they'd be
Yeah.
takers, but maybe that's just to keep them under the
Yeah.
radar.
Well, also they're like what they do is to gather information, right? Ian is very much like his thing is
Yeah,
all. It makes more sense for him, I think, than Blair,
Blair,
because he
yeah.
likes stirring the pot, but he's not going all the way, right? He's not like
Hmm.
actively pursuing. Like,
Blair is
he
full
he
on
doesn't care. He does not
chaos.
care.
She does
Oh,
not
you are in the
care.
wrong faction. It may be maybe Cockroach. It might be someone else, but it felt right suggesting Cockroach because
Hmm.
whole scientific sounding background, and he's the only one that
Yeah.
actually is doing proper experiments, like a science. A scientist would. That's why the circle
Well,
left
I mean,
him.
also
That's why they made him leave.
he didn't also check his
He
source
didn't.
clearly because he was just like, I got the book, let's do it. I would have sat down with the book. This is me if I were a scientist. I sat down with the book, look through it, see if it looks
Mhm.
legit.
This is why he's a perfect circle scientist candidate. He doesn't
Exactly.
actually. He's like, yeah, I'm a scientist, but doesn't actually follow certain procedure.
Follow the scientific
You don't have
method.
a peer-reviewed source, sir.
Yeah.
That was such a dumb joke. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. I'm tired.
Okay.
I'm
I made a stupid
I'm
joke
blank.
earlier too. Like
After
it's good.
my horrible metal detector noise, I can't make two bad jokes. Okay, back on topic.
Yes.
So you think it may be Cockroach, it may be someone else. But another thing is like, how did Mel's project or Mel's whole thing, the ritual of Mel, lead to breakthroughs? Like, did you just realize that like you needed a descendant, or is there something about?
Well, I mean, before he was like, I think I have a substitute, which ended up being Mel. So, like, I guess they had the idea. It's just whether or not, like, it would work. And I guess when they saw it worked, they're like, hey, breakthrough.
So then they didn't know for the whole, like, they don't know fully what they need for the ritual. They must not know that they need, maybe because of Cockroach coming over, right? These whole, like, notes on the ritual that they've acquired, quote unquote. Maybe he knew. Then how would he know?
I mean, I guess Altera's the closest to the Divines in terms of, like, their magic and stuff. So I feel like if an operative is in Altera, they're gonna get the most info.
I guess if a ritual,
that's my thinking.
Like, the rituals are, but it's all symbols, and they don't know how to pronounce them, that much. Sounds so bad, but, like, you could literally show one to me and ask me, how does that sound? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we are not the Rune Masters here.
Bumble, where are you? But yeah, maybe it's, like, specifically an Alteran thing, and he somehow learned it in his time there, and that's how they know.
And also, in Altera, they have, like, the temples for the other Divines. Like, they each have their own temple. So, like, I feel like if I was sent to Altera, I got stuck there, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go check out what they got.
The same thing shows up on in each temple, you're like, this seems significant. Yeah, and, like, Dooku says, like, oh yeah, this is the Alteran symbol for wind. So, like, there's definitely, like, they're not, like, those are definitely, like, recognized symbols. Right, and I think in the architect art, I don't know if this is on YouTube. I don't know if Siren posted it on YouTube. I don't think posted it.
I think he posted it in the community post thingy.
The architect art?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the symbols along that, right? It says in there, I read this, and then it says Arthur Tess, right? So we were thinking maybe the whole thing that led to his turning, right, was he read those. I don't know if he had to repeat or whatever, something about it, right? Those symbols, right? He read them, and maybe that's what made him transcend. I think we got to that. We talked about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe if he was able to figure that out, then he must have been from Altera. So this guy had to figure it out too.
I mean, Architect technically didn't do it right? Like, I think the only reason Architect survived was because Creator was like, we'll keep
he did?
you around.
I don't remember that. I swear I'm missing that whole conversation.
I feel like that was mentioned. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it was mentioned that the Creator basically was like, you're good, kid.
I'll throw you a bone, I'll let you live.
I mean...
but yeah, so maybe he figured that out and figured out that was the right, I guess, kind of, I don't know where I'm going with this, but he somehow, maybe whoever was able to cross back into Earth figured it out. Like, this is the ritual, or this is the rite that you need for the ritual. And that's part of the breakthrough. I don't know if do I get a promotion after this? No.
No way. Sorry, Dr. Stone's position has just been filled.
Oh man, you just missed out. Sorry. And we already told him we can't get rid of him now.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd have to
kill him. It's so messy. We don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
I think that's everything. Through a lot.
Yeah. Oh my god, did we get through all of the
things?
So much
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It is a lot. The circle, I was like, I literally said in the beginning, I'm like, we know a lot about the circle, but we also know literally nothing.
It's
so that sums up this whole podcast episode right
we
now.
know, but we don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that wraps up today's episode of the Lore Gremlin Podcast. Thank you for... Oh, God, I just hit my chair. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to the ramblings of a couple of wacky gremlins. Once again, check in the links in the description below for Siren's channel, Discord, and any key audios that we talked about today. Stay tuned for the next episode where we talk about God knows what, but we hope you enjoy either way. Remember to like and subscribe.
Bye.